the Ukraine decided to follow through with opting out of the process?
Well, we saw very much that President Zelensky is really a puppet of the West. You know, the launch of the SMO did exactly what it was supposed to do. It came in very quickly across Ukrainian territory and showed the Ukrainians, look, we can wage all-out war on you, but we don't want to. We just need you to listen to what we're saying to you about neutrality and about really implementing the provisions that had been agreed at Minsk sort of, 7 years earlier. And the Ukrainians recognized that initially. The Ukrainian negotiators said, yes, they understood that they could come to terms, and they signed up to a peace deal. What happened? The West immediately came rushing in. They dispatched Boris Johnson. They said, no, 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 stand firm. We'll give you whatever it takes. You can win this thing. You mustn't follow through with this peace deal. And the reason was, the West was determined to have this war. It wasn't Russia that initiated this war, it was the West. They initiated it a long time ago. And even at the time of the SMO, they were massing forces, NATO, Ukrainian forces, which are basically NATO forces, on the borders of the Donbass for a big invasion to try to retake what had been liberated territory by the Donbass peoples. And it makes it very clear, and we've heard over and over from people in the European Union, in Britain, in the USA, their aim is to wear down Russia. In fact, their aim is not just to wear down Russia and weaken it. Their aim is to change the government in Moscow and to break Russia into pieces, the better to control the people and their resources.
All right, now, this month we've seen President Zelensky shuffle his top commanders amid Kiev's numerous retreats ahead of today's anniversary. How would you gauge or imagine the position that Zelensky is in right now?
I think what we're seeing is a sign of panic and disarray in the regime of Zelensky. These people are totally corrupt. They're servants and puppets of the West. Now that they feel that the West is starting to abandon them, there's total, as I said, panic and disarray. They can't agree amongst themselves what's the right way to carry on. And I think that what we're seeing is really just a reflection of that. The fights among the people at the top as the ship is going down.
All right, now the West have thrown all they have at Russia, and as it is right now, what more can they do? Do you think that a plane load of cash to Kiev would change anything?
Not remotely. What they need more than anything else is people. And that's what they're running out of. And the biggest tragedy of this whole thing, which was totally avoidable, which the West incited, they brainwashed a whole section of the Ukrainian people into believing a kind of horrific supremacist ideology, essentially resuscitated Banderite Nazi ideology, spent decades brainwashing people with this ideology to specifically so they could weaponize Ukraine against Russia, right? Fraternal countries with a long history of living happily, peacefully, cooperatively together. They brought back this Nazi ideology to weaponize the Ukrainian people and use them as a battering ram against Russia. And all that's fundamentally happened is that they have sacrificed a whole generation. And we see that now. No amount of dollars can give them more people, and no amount of dollars actually can give them more weapons. When they talk about delivering more weapons, they're talking about giving contracts to the military-industrial complex in the West, which will then go away and start producing. There's no way anything they're giving money for today is going to land in the hands of soldiers on the battlefield tomorrow. By the time it's ready to be operational, this war will be over.